In the last installment, I described how to start a beginner list of everyday obligations and realistic timeframes for each of them. I'll put my own list up on the screen to jog your memories. Once you allow this list to prove itself over a week or so, then you'll be ready to analyze and create a series of workflow charts, diagrams, informational sheets, and procedure outlines. These all serve the same purpose. They give you a bird's eye view of where you are in the process and what you need to do next. They keep all of the necessary information at your fingertips. In this video, I'll demonstrate using my own self-publishing business how I analyze things starting from the top level of the hierarchy and how I use a mind map to add in the next layers of workflow and instructions. We don't need workflow charts or diagrams to do the things that we do every day. We get to know those things by heart. But think of all the things you do only once every couple of weeks, or once a month, or even once or twice a year. In the self-publishing business, there's a lot that only gets done once in a while or once or twice a year. Trying to retrace your steps while doing something unfamiliar is only slightly easier than reinventing the wheel each time. The purpose of these organizational strategies is to save both time and energy in trying to wing the things you don't know like the back of your hand. These strategies will allow you to come home from a day of work and still have enough energy to write that novel or do whatever else you want to do. So let's look at the first workflow diagram. Every business has many facets to it. Self-publishing is no different. As a self-published author, my business requires writing, proofreading, formatting, publishing, and marketing. Those are the 5 areas I will start with. If you are not an author but are still interested in learning these techniques, just analyze your business and make your own unique categories. Make the categories to match all of the activities of your business. These categories are nothing more than separating all of the tasks by the hats that you wear as a business owner. I use a software called FreeMind in order to make this kind of visual workflow chart. I like it because you can close down these sections and only open the area that is needed. I find it much more manageable that way. Every business produces a product. Produce a lot of documents, graphics, blog posts, videos, and more. It's important to know how you will file and manage all of this output so you can put your hands on anything at any time. Let's open the file hierarchy. Here is a list of all of the folders, subfolders, and files I use in each book. This list helps me create a consistent system and naming taxonomy. The list even helps me create the folders at the beginning of any project. In the next segment, I'm going to be showing you how all of these lists work. So we'll be looking at my screen. So let's go there now. This is a file I've done in a program called FreeMind. It makes mind maps. So this is the top level hierarchy. Writing a novel, and these are all the hats that are involved in running a self-publishing business. So let's open the first one here. Let me position this and give it some room because it's a long list. Okay, so here is the folder hierarchy. And in this list, I have all of the folders and files that I need for every single book. I work in Scrivener, which is a software for writing books, and it has all folders and files for the book covers, for the images I will be using. I have an information sheet here that I keep a running list of all of the names that I use in any of the books. And let's see. There's a tool that I use in order to do marketing research. It's called Publisher Rocket, so I have a folder for that. So anyway, this is the list that I use at the beginning of any writing project because it allows me to be consistent in naming all of the files. So let me close this down. And let's open next the self-publishing roadmap. Now, this mind map is more of a bird's eye view. So what it does is it lists here, this list lists everything in chronological order that I need to do as I'm moving forward through the self-publishing process. So all of these items here, they have other checklists that I use when I reach that point. But I like this because it gives me an idea of what I have to do as I'm moving from business hat to business hat, so to speak. And what I like about this also is if I'm at a point of proofreading, I can keep all of these other lists closed. And this is a good way to remain really focused. And this is also a good way of breaking everything down into bite-sized pieces because you can do anything if you can break it down into bite-sized pieces. And I'll just give you a look at the last one, which is the formatting. So everything that I need to check and do on formatting, which is one of the last things that's done before the book is published, that's the list that I follow there. Okay, now I am in PowerPoint. I am a subscriber to Microsoft 365 because I use all of their tools in my self-publishing business. So I'm not sure if what I'm about to show you is one of the tools that only the 365 has, or whether you can do this in an older version. But in any event, it's very quick, so I'm just going to show you anyway. So this is one of the hierarchy charts that I showed you earlier in the video. We've already gone over this one. So let me click over here to the second one. Now on this blank slide, I have one text box and I have listed all of the categories that I want. So I'm going to show you now how to set up the hierarchy. So everything that I want under self-publishing, I'm just going to tab over once. Just like this. Right click, then come down here and choose Convert to Smart Art. As soon as this information box gets lost, okay, here. So you can come over and choose whichever chart you want to use. And as you can see, by tabbing over, that's how you create your hierarchy. Over here, I have another setup where I have the top category, a second layer, and then by adding a third layer of tabs, I'm going to right click, Convert to Smart Art, and choose the same one. And as you can see, it just keeps breaking them down further and further. Now, as you can see, the font becomes smaller and smaller based on how many categories you have underneath each one. So at this point, before I hit the third level of categories, I usually move on to another type of organizational sheet so that I can see it better. Anyway, that's how creating the workflow charts works in Microsoft PowerPoint. The next type of organization I use, I refer to as an information sheet. I use a notepad file because these are easy to pull up and you can keep them on the screen when you're watching instructional videos or looking at a website or a blog post. And that's why I choose them. They're very easy to use. So I use these informational sheets when a regular flow chart wouldn't work. And here is my info sheet on formatting for ebooks, paperbacks, and hardcovers. Amazon changes things occasionally, and I learn different things. So this type of organizational chart, or organizational sheet, I should say, can be added to or changed. I also have notes and experience here, where I note down anything that I realized for the first time, or maybe there's a glitch in the system or my system. So this way, this jogs my memory the next time I use it. And this would be a perfect example of something that I know how to do formatting, but I don't know it like the back of my hand. So rather than having to reinvent the wheel every single time or figure it out anew, I just use my check sheet. And this gives me all the information. It's all in one document, and I have it at my fingertips. I can use it for any of the books I need, ebooks, paperback, hardcover now, and then even have a naming taxonomy down here for certain of the books that I put different links into. Here's some formatting for maps. So as you can see, this one is sort of a check sheet that ebbs and flows. You can change this one very easily. There's no styling involved. I just open it up and the information is right here at my fingertips. And the last type of checklist is what I call a procedural list. I am focusing on improving my social media presence this year. So I have developed a strategy of writing a blog post that I can copy and edit to make a video script, shoot the video, and then make it into a long form as well as a few short form videos, both in 16:9 aspect ratio as well as 1:1 aspect ratio, which fits better on some social media sites. Because there is so much multitasking involved in this, I need a procedure list so that I can easily move from step to step on every move I need to make. And this list I did in Microsoft Note. So how can you apply these techniques to your self-publishing business? Or maybe you have a different type of business that you need to organize with. Again, these lists are not for the things that we do every day. These are reminder lists that will help you in the things that you do only once in a while or a couple of times a year. I actually have one to do my taxes, which I only do once a year. I couldn't function without the list. I even have a checklist for when I plan and host a Thanksgiving dinner. It helps me manage the stress of entertaining, which I don't do very often. So as a quick reminder, the diagrams work best with stable conditions and steps that barely ever change. Mind maps work best when you want a bird's eye view of the whole project, and your project has a lot of moving parts. It also works for breaking big projects down into tiny bite-sized pieces. The informational sheets are sheets that change very often, and you can keep updating them for when your business changes, the websites that you use change, and that's the easiest format for something like that. And the procedural checklists are for much more complicated systems, where you may be multitasking and there's too much for any one mind to keep straight. I have one final video that I plan to make before I end this series, and that will be about making, finding, and clawing back time from your days to have enough energy to do the things that you want to do. If you want to know how to work a full day at work and still come home with enough energy to do the things you want to do, then that video will be for you. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.